Hi, my name is Jessica Dumas, and I'm a professional speaker coach. I help aspiring speakers speak with clarity for online and virtual audiences to gain valuable attention to your business or to your story. And I've recently met with this incredible speaker named Sherri Lynn, and she has a talk called The Girl Within, where she talks about her experience of being a 60 scoop survivor, a very emotional story and one that is not heard enough. So welcome, Sherri Lynn. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Jessica. My name is Sherri Lynn Gobeil, and I am a transformational speaker who is behind the Girl Within. I chose to share my story because I want to bring a positive aspect to a lot of the negative um, stories that you may have heard about the 60 scoop.
So tell us a little bit about the 60 scoop. What is that?
The 60 scoop happened throughout Canada through the 1970s and 1980s. Often Indigenous children were taken from their parents and adopted to non-Indigenous families in Canada and throughout the United States.
Definitely something that's not heard enough. So what has your experience been like? How did you realize that this was your story?
Well, it's actually by accident. I was speaking with somebody that one afternoon, and I was telling her that I was adopted and between what years and stuff like that. And she goes, "You know what? Your story sounds like you may be a 60 scoop survivor." And I was like, "Well, what's that?" I didn't even know what, and hadn't heard about what the 60 scoop was at that time. So I did a little bit more research, and I did discover that I was a 60 scoop adoptee, and I was adopted to a non-Indigenous family.
Wow, that's amazing. How long ago did that happen for you?
I found out that I may be a 60 scoop adoptee when I was in my mid 40s and was blessed to be reunited with my biological family 2 years ago.
That must have been incredible. I don't know how do you cope with that? What kind of things are going on with you? What are you thinking and feeling as all of this is happening?
I think excitement and being scared. I think my biggest goal was to meet my biological mother and just to thank her for having the courage to let me go. Not that I knew that she had any choice at the time, but I just wanted her to know that I turned out well and healthy and successful. And I think for any parent to be reunited with their child and letting them know that they did grow up to be a healthy individual would have meant a lot. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. My mother had passed away long before I was ever reunited with her.
That's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
So what has the relationship been like with your family that you've been reunited with?
It has been amazing. They've welcomed me with open arms. I often tell people that it was may have been awkward for the first 5 minutes before I met my three brothers in the paw. But after that, it was like no time had passed at all. They know that they have an older sister that loves them very much. And again, they've welcomed me with open arms. I've gotten to know all my cousins, 44 first cousins, many uncles and aunts, and they treat me like I've never been a part or never been separated from the family. So it's been absolutely wonderful. My heart is finally full. I know that I always grew up not knowing where I belonged and not really belonging to anybody. And although I still don't feel like I belong per se, my heart is actually full. I don't have that emptiness in my heart anymore.
Amazing. That's so beautiful. And so with this experience, you decided to become a transformational speaker. So where did that come from?
Well, I wasn't sure when I first started that that's what would be my title, but I want to share my personal experience with somebody. If it touches even one person out there and they are reunited with their biological family, then I know that I've done the right thing. I wanted to bring a positive story to all the unfortunate stories that I've heard of kids being adopted out and not being very well taken care of. I actually was blessed with a fairy tale childhood, and I wanted to share my experience with everybody who's willing to listen.
Good for you. And what was the turning point for you where you decided I need to talk about this?
I think when I was speaking with somebody, they said, well, you know what, your voice may affect somebody's life. So, and at that point, I thought, well, who am I not to share my story with somebody? It happened to me for a reason. I often would get asked if I was angry because of what had happened, and I don't know any different, so I have no right to be angry per se. But I want to definitely acknowledge what happened. And if it helps somebody that's listening in the audience, then by all means.
Absolutely. I know as a professional speaker myself, the work that it takes to get to the place where you can share your story so openly, because it can be very emotional for you and for your audience. So, what has it been like to find that comfort with sharing your personal story so openly?
I think it's a healing process. I think the more that I share, the more I realize that it really touches other people. I know that sharing my story has brought people to tears, and that's definitely that was a surprise to me because I don't want to upset anybody per se, but I can see that my story has such a huge impact on people. And again, has been a huge healing process for me because I'm still learning as I go along, finding out who I am. And I don't know if you ever truly know who we are, but this has definitely been a step in the right direction.
Amazing. I'm loving all of it. So, what do you hope that your listeners are taking from your story?
I hope that the listeners will listen. People will start to heal the moment they feel heard. And I think that's the biggest thing. We just need to be heard and to have some understanding.
Oh, Sherry Lynn, that's beautiful. I love it. And I'm so excited to hear your story in person very soon, whenever that opportunity arises. And for anyone else who's looking for a speaker for their event, how do they reach you?
They can reach me through my email address at thegirlwithin.ca.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time today. And I wish you all the best.
Thanks so much, Jessica.
Thank you.